Good afternoon, men and brethren. The day has finally came. We have got the cab off the old S10 frame. There's the frame, the whole rolling chassis, and there's the cab. And now that is hanging from some brand new Harbor Freight come-alongs. And I made a frame here in the back, and you can kind of see how I made it. We'll run up there right quick, and I'll show you how it hooks underneath the pinch well there. So this here is just a piece of 1.5-inch angle iron, and I've cut it down. The lip that goes up underneath of the pinch well here is about 1/2 inch tall, or 3/4 of an inch tall, and it's spaced out 1/2 inch, and it's just welded onto this big frame. It goes up to the top there on that frame, and that's all she is. So that the come-alongs go up to a piece of pipe that spans across 2 rafters, and these rafters are 50-year-old oak. This whole building is oak, and they're full width 2x8s, or yeah, take it back, full width 2x6s, and there is no give to them. Actually, the weak link in this, if there is a weak link, is going to be that 1.25 inch Schedule 40 pipe that the chain up there is wrapped around. So we've got plenty of weight capacity. So onto the front of the cab here, I just took a piece of 1-inch square tubing and marked it and drilled through it and bolted that on the front of the hinges where your fenders bolt to. And it's also bolted down here in the bottom where your fender bolts to. So we've got 3 big points of connection here. So the load's shared, and these are bolted down good and tight. So the load is shared through all 3 of these bolts, and nothing creaked or tweaked, or nothing moved when we picked her up. Welded on some big rings there to hook the come-along into. Now, the only thing that I forgot was the engine management computer wiring harness. And that was no big deal. I remembered it before we were too far up in the air. That you unplug it. This is a 93 model, so the computer is inside of the truck, underneath of the dash. You just got to take the toe kick plate out, and then unplug it from the computer, and unplug this plug here, and then you can snake it all through the hole in the cab. So that comes out really easy. No fuss, no muss. The rest of the harness, I don't think we really unplugged a whole lot else besides that. The harness will stay with this chassis until we strip it off of there. Of course, we had, ground bonding strap, and we had steering linkage, or steering knuckle to unhook, transmission shift linkage. That's about it. Unplugged the big 4-inch square. Yeah, we had to unplug this big 4-inch square connector here, right by the master cylinder. And this has got, 35-year-old earwax inside of it. And that was really hard to get apart, but, we took our time, eased it off of there gently, and then unplugged that whole connector. And now this piece of the connector ties into the radiator core support harness. So we just took this piece of the connector off of the rest of the connector and left that harness with the core support. And I'm going to work over some of this wiring as we go and kind of clean it up a little bit. There's a lot of unused wire in there. There's a lot of places that need rewrapped and just checked out. So we're going to go through that as we go. The brake master cylinder and booster, I just left it attached to the cab. Didn't see no reason to take it loose. So you might be able to make out there's about a 16-inch 3/16 brake line that's attached to it. It was already set up for 3/16 brake line coming out of it for some reason or another. So I had those adapters in the master cylinder already. I just took a brake line and looped it over, and just to keep the dirt out. And then down here, we don't care about the brake lines down here because all that's going to get thrown away. We're definitely not going to reuse any of the brake lines. So that's how we got the cab off, and it was remarkably easy. Old Elijah was smile, boy. Old Elijah there was on one side, and I was on the other, and we just stayed in step, and we lifted her up, and it all went well. So I guess ain't nothing else to say except for
y'all drive safe, watching deer. Give us a thumbs up if you like to.
Why do you gotta look like somebody just kicked your dog or something?
There were some creeks.
Oh, we had creeked once.